Hi friends, this video is about Jupiter in the signs and the houses, aka how to read Jupiter in your chart. Remember, astrology is open to interpretation and is a lifelong study, so take what resonates and leave the rest. I'm making these videos so I have something to study as well. So there are many, many layers to astrology, but the first three that we focus on are the what, the how, and the where. So the planets, the signs, and the houses. If you're new here, my name is Sadie Smiley. I love aliens and astrology. My husband Kevin and I run Cosmic Soul Sedona, which is a galactic energy healing studio here in Sedona, Arizona. Please be sure to stop by and say hi if you're ever in the area. Now, Jupiter is the magnifying glass. It expands everything. It is traditionally known as the greater benefic. And in simple terms, that just means that Jupiter is the planet of growth. It is also the planet of faith, higher learning, and vision. So where Jupiter sits in your chart shows where life opens doors for you, where you are naturally lucky, and where you are pulled to seek a broader truth. If your Jupiter is in Aries, you expand through bold action, courage, and pioneering initiative. So you attract luck when you trust your instincts and lead the way. So again, this is about layers. Once you know about Aries, being about bold action and courage, right? And that initiator, because it's a cardinal sign. And then you know about Jupiter, you know what your Jupiter looks like in Aries. Jupiter in Taurus, you expand through steady growth, practical wisdom, and physical grounding. So you are luckiest when you build tangible value and you have patience. Patience. Jupiter in Gemini, you expand through curiosity, learning, writing, and adaptability. So for you, if your Jupiter is in Gemini, your growth comes from gathering information and connecting ideas. And again, if we layer this into something like the second house, that's going to show us how you're going to make money. And we focus on that as well as many other houses and points whenever I do the astrology wealth mapping readings. Jupiter in Cancer, you expand through emotional intuition, home, and nurturing. Your luck is tied to emotional security and protecting your inner circle, right? Cancer, very, very protective of their friends and their family. If your Jupiter is in Leo, then you're going to expand in a very Leo way, right? Through self-expression, through heart-centered confidence, not arrogance, and through creativity. So you're going to draw in that luck by standing in your light and sharing your gifts. Leos are meant to shine, right? Jupiter in Virgo, you expand through mindfulness, practical service, and attention to detail. Virgos are meticulous. I have many Virgos in my life. And your wisdom as well as your luck are going to come through refining your skills and through being helpful. Virgos love to help and to serve, right? Jupiter in Libra, you expand through relationships, fairness, diplomacy, and aesthetics. Libras like very beautiful things, and they're all about that balance and that fairness. And that growth and that luck comes from creating that balance and working in partnership. Jupiter in Scorpio, you expand through emotional depth, transformation, and psychological truth. Scorpio is probably like the deepest, psychologically deepest sign. And there's so much. I literally was watching like 5 different videos on Scorpio yesterday and taking notes. There's so much to learn. I have pages and pages and pages of notes to share with you guys. I have a few Scorpio moons in my life, so that's what I was studying. You attract your abundance and your luck by mastering complex and deep topics. If your Jupiter is in Sagittarius, Jupiter is in its home sign here. So you expand through exploration, physical travel, higher education, and big philosophies. Jupiter is very happy here. If Jupiter is in Capricorn, you expand through discipline, long-term strategy, and structure. Capricorn is that CEO energy. I'm a Capricorn rising. That's part of the reason that I'm so good at building businesses. Your abundance and your luck are going to come through integrity, responsibility, and persistence. That's the thing. You have to keep going. Most people give up right before they strike the gold. If your Jupiter is in Aquarius, you expand through community because Aquarians are very humanitarian. Through innovation, technology is a big thing, and then original ideas. Aquarians are very unique. Many are very quirky, which is why I love them so much. Luck flows when you focus on collective progress and breaking old molds. And your Jupiter is in Pisces. That means, so it's also in its home sign here, but it means that you expand through intuition and compassion and spiritual faith. Growth and luck are going to flow through trust and imagination. Pisces are the dreamers, right? Next, we have Jupiter in the houses. So let me move my face out of the way here. There we go. So now that we covered how Jupiter operates through the 12 signs, right? How, it is time to look at where. So this house, the house placement represents the specific life area. Each of these little pie slices here are a different life area, right? And I have a whole video on the houses. So make sure you watch those. I have a whole video on the planets and the signs as well. But whenever you look at the house, this is that layer, right? Where Jupiter is, which sign it's in, which house it is in. So learning these pieces is what is going to make it to where you can synthesize your own chart. I put a little space here for my face in this little Canva presentation. Look at me. That's another thing, y'all. If you're new here, I'm not using AI for these. I have seen so many AI designs that just look the same when it comes to astrology, and I don't want to do that. So I use AI for my thumbnails, but I use Canva and literally type most of this in myself. I hope that doing this gives you a more solid understanding of my perspective of the astrology because it comes from my notes and things that I've noticed and written down. And I also hope it encourages you to do the same. I will make some videos about using AI to decode your astrology because it can be very helpful. But having this base foundation is important. So Jupiter in the first house, expansion shows up in your identity. The first house is you, right? It is your ego, your life vitality. And it's also your physical presence. So people view you as an optimistic, inspiring force. Now, if this or any of the others don't fit, you have to layer and be like, this isn't true. Okay, what other planets are in your first house? Which sign is your first house? Which planets are aspected? Which planets does Jupiter have a relationship with to the first house, right? So if something doesn't fit, that's when you become, you go into detective mode and you figure out, okay, well, this doesn't fit. So why doesn't this fit? And you look around. Jupiter in the second house, growth lands in your personal assets, income, and self-worth. You find abundance through aligning your spending with your core values. Your second house, if you think about Jupiter being the magnifying glass and the expander, Jupiter in the second house, well, the second house is all about the money and your values, but lots about money, right? So what does that look like? That looks like the ability to make a lot of money, generally speaking. It could also be spending a lot of money, depending on your placements and your personality. That's the thing about all of the planets and the signs and houses, like all of the things, there's a light side to it and there's a shadow side to it. So you want to really lean into that light side, work towards that light side, work towards that growth, right? The third house is communication, right? So Jupiter in the third house, expansion occurs in daily communication, writing, local community, and mindset. So you're going to grow through teaching, learning, and sharing ideas. In the fourth house, expansion centers around your home, your roots, your family, and your emotional foundation, right? So your luck and your growth and your wisdom are showing up in living spaces, family support, and potentially real estate. Fifth house, growth opens up in romance, creative projects, children, and joy, and you create and attract good fortune through authentic, uninhibited self-expression. The fifth house is the house of creativity and joy and fun. And for me, like in my brain, if I was walking into the fifth house, pretend there was a door there. If I'm walking into the fifth house, I literally just take all of my clothes off and go and run for the craft supplies because I'm just going to sit there and craft without clothes on all day long. That's my fun and my joy. So picture your most uninhibited self-expression. What are you doing? Are you going and dancing in the forest? What is your fun and your creativity and your joy? And I experienced this yesterday, actually. My fifth house, definitely. I was at Thunder Mountain and I just laid on the red rocks for like, I don't even know how long, and listened to music and meditated. And it was absolutely my fun and joy and creativity without worrying about the outside world, about my work, about my business, about what people are going to think of me whenever they're walking by. The sixth house, expansion happens in daily work routines, physical wellness, and service. The sixth house is the day-to-day, right? Everything you do, your routines, your rituals. So you're going to thrive. If your Jupiter is in the sixth house, you're going to thrive by creating healthy daily habits and helpful systems to make those routines run well. Jupiter in the seventh house, abundance shows up through one-on-one relationships. So this is not just marriage and partners romantically, but it's also clients and business partners. So your growth here, your Jupiter is going to expand everything here, right? So your growth, your luck, could even be finances, because partners in collaboration, right? So you have to collaborate to really activate this Jupiter in the seventh house. Next, we have Jupiter in the eighth house. Expansion lands in shared assets, deep psychology, intimacy, and personal transformation. Again, joint endeavors here, but really deep trust. The eighth house and 12th house are very, very intriguing to me. I love the second house because I love talking about money and how you can have abundance in your life. But the eighth house and the 12th house, they're just so deep. I feel like you can never, ever, ever get to the end of what they have for you. The ninth house. So picture if you have Jupiter in Sagittarius in the ninth house. Jupiter is going to be so happy. Growth happens in higher education. This does not just mean college, by the way. Foreign travel, publishing, and spiritual philosophies. If you have Jupiter in your ninth house, and especially if you have Jupiter and Sagittarius in your ninth house, you better be going to work and putting this Jupiter to work, because it's like having a team of, lucky spiritual advisors right here with you. Utilize that, right? Utilize that for your growth. The 10th house, top of the chart, right? It's your public reputation, your career, your professional authority. Can you imagine if your Jupiter is in the 10th house? Wow, that is beautiful, right? Picture this in your head. Every single house, picture Jupiter there and what it does for your career. Jupiter is in your career house. Are you kidding me? This is why we have to know astrology. This is why we have to utilize astrology. Jupiter in the 10th house, you are recognized for your vision and your leadership. The 11th house, abundance flows through your social networks, your group causes, and your future aspirations. So when you work with the collective is when you will have the most luck. It's when you will grow the most, okay? And then last but not least for Jupiter, we have the 12th house, and then I have some other things that I want to talk to you about and give you some examples as well. So 12th house, Jupiter, expansion moves through your spiritual life, your inner peace, and your subconscious mind. So your growth and expansion are going to happen here while your spirituality expands. Now, I do want to make a quick note about aspects, aka energy relationships between planets. So the sign and the house give you the baseline blueprint, but the aspects, so the angles that Jupiter makes with other planets, do change things, okay? I'm sharing this because if you read something, like I said earlier, and think it doesn't fit, it may be because there is an aspect at play, okay? Because once you have your accurate birth chart, and especially have your birth time, but just in general, you have your accurate birth chart, and you understand how to read these layers, it will make so much sense that it will probably make you feel a little crazy that A, you didn't start sooner, and B, how is this so accurate? I've never met anybody that's like, oh, my astrology isn't accurate at all. Literally, I've talked to hundreds of people about astrology. everyone is like, oh man, that chart read me to filth. So this is a very long slide. I guess my face is going to go over here. Hard aspects, squares in opposition. This is Jupiter stepping on the gas pedal a little too hard. Okay. It can create extra urgency, overconfidence, or external pressure, forcing you to check your excess early in life and ground your big vision in reality. Soft aspects, trines and sextiles. I'll do a whole video about these, you guys. You don't have to actually understand it. The reason I'm wanting to tell you this, and it may not feel like it fits in this video, but I promise that it does. The reason that you have to know that this exists is because of, oh, that doesn't make sense. If something doesn't make sense, it's probably either you're not understanding it yet, or it's an aspect at play. So with the softer aspects, the trines and the sextiles, some people call them good aspects, harmonious aspects. This is Jupiter giving you a strong tailwind and open doors. So the wisdom is easily accessible, and you naturally find the optimism and trust needed to expand with less friction. There's also conjunctions, which is when a planet is sitting directly on top of another planet. Jupiter merges, okay? Jupiter merges with this other planet's energy, amplifying that part of your identity or life and making it a major source of growth and faith. So again, the signs show the how, the houses show the where, but the aspects show who else in your chart is involved in the conversation. Remember, I told you in the last video, signs, planets, etc., they never act alone. So again, even if you're not here yet and understanding, that's okay. My rule of thumb is keep listening and taking notes. It will all click eventually. So the core formula is the sign, the house, and the sign is the how, the house is the where, the planet is the what. The aspects are the modifiers. Okay, so the squares and oppositions can create friction and pressure, and the trines and sextiles create natural flow and abundance. The conjunctions are deep integration. Yes, this is basically a repeat of the last slide, but I really wanted to make sure that it made sense. Next, we have a few examples. And I'm also going to do a video. My next video is going to be about chart patterns and shapes. So I really dug into, what is the bowl, the bucket, the bundle, the flare, the seesaw, all of the things. And I actually went through all of my friends and family and found charts that matched each of them. It was really difficult, but it was done. So make sure that you look out for that. So you can press pause if you want to figure this out on your own. Jupiter is the what, Cancer is the how, the where is the ninth house. What does this mean? Press pause if you want to check yourself. Because Cancer is how Jupiter expands. If your Jupiter is in this placement, you may struggle with emotional sentimentality, defensiveness, or fear of stepping outside your comfort zone. And because the ninth house is where it plays out, this friction, this emotional friction especially, is centering around higher education, long distance travel, publishing, or philosophical beliefs. So what could that look like in real life? Think about that. Fear of stepping outside of your comfort zone, and then pair that with publishing. Say you wrote a book in the third house, but you're too scared to publish it in the ninth house. Once you begin to lead with intuitive wisdom, you will unlock deep emotional fulfillment and natural luck. So you transform into this cautious homebody into a curious, inspiring mentor, traveler, or teacher who helps others feel safe, expanding their worldview. Next, again, press pause if you want to test yourself. Jupiter in Capricorn in the third house. What does that look like? Because Capricorn is how Jupiter operates, if your Jupiter is in Capricorn in the third house, you may struggle with rigid in the box thinking, cynicism, or holding back your big vision out of fear of failure. Again, fear of failure, that comes up a lot, right? When we tap into our astrology, we can remedy that. We can combat that. Because the third house is where it plays out, this mental hesitation centers around writing projects, public speaking, daily communication, or learning new skills. So you're afraid to go take that class, to learn that new thing. You're afraid to write the book. In the 9th house, you are afraid to publish it. But if it's in the 3rd house, maybe you're afraid to even write it. Once you commit to that disciplined Capricorn practice, you will build authority through your voice and your ideas. But you have to commit and be disciplined. Capricorn is disciplined. You transform from an overly cautious thinker into a master communicator, teacher, or author who converts complex information into practical success. Jupiter in Libra in the 2nd house. What does that look like in real life? Now, Jupiter is in retrograde. If you caught that, you can see right here, this is red. The degree, the 28 degrees is red. That means Jupiter is in retrograde. I'm not to the point where I can make videos about that yet, but when I am, I will. I'm going to ask my friend Carolina if she's done any videos about retrograde planets, because I think it would be very helpful to understand the difference. Because with Jupiter being in retrograde in Libra, its growth turns inward. It's that expansion, right? It's inward, which can cause you to struggle with internal financial, because it's in the 2nd house, right? Anxiety over accommodating others or relying on external approval to feel valuable. Because the 2nd house is where it plays out, again, this inner doubt centers around your personal income, your money management, your personal values, and your self-worth. So once you are able to trust your own internal moral compass, you will then attract balanced, effortless financial abundance. Think about that. Tapping into that magic, Jupiter in the 2nd house, are you kidding me? You transform from someone who undervalues their talents into a grounded, self-assured creator or business strategist who knows their exact worth. I literally just met someone that has Jupiter in their 2nd house in Aquarius, just like I do in whole signs. I use Placidus because I do feel like it's more nuanced and detailed and layered and, you know, all the things. However, you can use both charts to see all of the different dynamics. And I have my 2nd house, and my 2nd house has Jupiter in Aquarius. I just met someone who has the same placement. We're going to be able to do so many amazing things together. That's another cool thing about astrology. If you get someone's birth chart, you're like, hey, let me pull your birth chart. You can figure out how you can work together. Now, in the Saturn video, I did a slide about the Saturn return. Everyone talks about the Saturn return, but I've very rarely heard anyone talk about the Jupiter return. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, every planet video like this that I do, I'm going to put the return in there because every planet has one, not just Saturn. So every about 12 years, Jupiter returns to the exact degree it occupied when you were born. That's what return means, right? It came back to the exact spot when you were born. This completes a major cycle, and it initiates a brand new 12-year chapter focused on growth and opportunity, wisdom, and personal abundance. So when you take bold, intentional leaps of faith during this window, your Jupiter return acts as a powerful launch pad. It's like a rocket ship for luck and expansion rather than a moment of overextension. So I put the key ages here. Take a moment to pause and think about what happened at these ages for you. 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. Wow. So where is your Jupiter? I want to know where Jupiter is in your chart. What's the sign? What's the house? And what does this say? Don't just tell me the sign in the house. These are learning videos. What does your Jupiter say because of the sign and because of the house? I want to know. And I'm making a gazillion videos, so if you want to add to my list, go ahead and put requests below. Thank you.